To establish a secure connection to your WPC, you need a client application installed on the device that needs to connect to Cloud Connexa. The official client for this purpose is OpenVPN Connect, which is available for Windows, macOS, iOS, and Android. For Linux users, we recommend our open source OpenVPN 3 client, which also supports data channel offload or DCO. You can also use OpenVPN protocol compatible routers like Teltonica and firmware like OpenWRT. While the same application is sometimes referred to as a client and the other times as a connector, the distinction sits in its use case. The term connector is used to define an always-on unattended connection that is used to provide access to networks and resources within those networks that are connected to WPC or your wide area private cloud. It is configured through the administration portal to enable persistent and seamless access to your resources connected to Cloud Connexa. On the other hand, the term client refers to typical on-demand connections used by remote users to access services made available via connectors. Despite using the same app, the setup and configuration differentiate the roles. So to summarize, network connectors are unattended devices designed to connect networks to Cloud Connexa. These connectors can be deployed across a wide range of environments, including cloud platforms, on-premise infrastructure, virtual machines, or compatible routers. With automatic deployment options, administrators can save time on network configuration. Deployment is simple to initiate and offers over 13 different options, giving organizations the flexibility to choose the solution that best fits their requirements. If you're looking at the onboarding wizard, the part that you're going to deploy the connector is going to be after choosing the scenarios and setting up your resources. So you can choose either one of these scenarios or all three of them. It doesn't matter. You're just going to deploy one connector. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to leave it as remote access or private access and then click next. This is where we're going to mention our resources either by domain name or IP addresses or subnets. So I'm going to use an example here. Again, for my environment, I have a domain name for one of my applications. I'm going to use that, accounting.ovnlab.local. And then I'm going to choose the protocols or ports. For this application, all we need is the HTTP and HTTPS. So I'm going to select those and submit. Now, if you need to add another resource, we can do this again. I'm going to add one of my servers, type the IP address. And let's say the server just needs SSH enable. So I'm going to enable SSH for the port or protocol, and that's all we need to do. The next step is where we're going to deploy the connector. So click on this button, and then first we need to choose the region that is closest to our resources. And let's say that in my example is going to be San Jose in California. So I'm going to use San Jose, and then click on deployment method. And this is where we're going to choose how we want to deploy our connector, either on a cloud provider such as AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or VPSs such as DigitalOcean, operating system like Windows Server, Linux, and then compatible routers such as Teltonica or pfSense. No matter what option you choose, you will have some instructions and some steps that you can follow to deploy your connectors properly on that platform. Once you're done, click on test deployment, and once you get the green light, your connector is installed and ready to go, and you can continue with the rest of configuration. Last thing to note here is that, as I mentioned earlier, if you choose multiple scenarios here, you need to deploy one connector. But keep in mind that the connector is needed not just for accessing private networks, but also as an exit point for SaaS applications or secure internet scenarios to access public resources. So if you choose only one scenario, such as protecting SaaS or secure internet access, you still need to deploy a connector.